Hello everyone and welcome to Geopolitical Trends. My name is David Oualaalou. So good to be with you as always. After productive talks in Moscow, Russia and Algeria signed a declaration of a deep partnership between the two countries. How significant is this? In this video, I'm going to provide you a brief analysis that answers this specific question while placing the declaration in its proper geopolitical and economic context. But before I delve deeper into this, I like to extend my sincere thanks to the channel's members and supporters. And for you, if this is your first time, please make sure to subscribe and smash that notification button so you will be notified every time I upload a new video. And thank you all for your continued support. Let's dive in on this, or in this rather. Looks like all the roads are leading to Moscow. Well, the Russian President Vladimir Putin and his counterpart, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune, signed recently, which was about just yesterday in Moscow, a joint declaration of a deep partnership between the two countries. And as a matter of fact, both of them, during their joint press conference, described the talks as successful. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the significance of it and, of course, answer the question that I put forth at the beginning. But this comes on the heels of Russia's largest economic forum, which, by the way, was shunned by the West following Russia's ongoing military operations in Ukraine, which, by the way, this summit in Russia had the to the last minute had a high-profile guest. And guess who the guest was? Which was on Friday, this past weekend. The guest was none other than the head of the United Arab Emirates. And Russia and United Arab Emirates has signed some deals, economic deals, that is. So the Algerian president, Tebboune, that is, concluded over the weekend his 3-day visit. It was an official visit in which started on Friday and concluded yesterday as of Sunday. So his three-day visit to Russia, and by the way, it was his first trip since he took office at the end of 2019. And the reason for the visit was to strengthen the cooperation between the two countries. Well, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. As a matter of fact, it's because of what's going on in Algeria with its neighboring country, Morocco. That is the reason why. Morocco is a US ally, Algeria is a Russia ally, and you can just see it's geopolitics at the heart of it all. For his part, the Algerian president did disclose that his talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin were frank, and because they addressed some key issues. You're talking about, of course, the bilateral relations between the two countries. Then you consider the regional issues that the Algerian president added. And he added that for a reason. It's because he wants to ensure the continuation of the Russian support for the Algerian regime, that is. So the two countries, and this is the statements by the Algerian president, and he's saying that the consensus envisions. This is why geopolitics is very interesting, because you have to pay close attention to the wording. The Algerian president didn't say this in vacuum either, because he has reasons, and I will detail the reasons why as I move forward here. So he said the consensus in the vision between the two countries centers on, for example, issues like the Sahara issue, which is a contentious point between Morocco and Algeria that has been since 1975. Then you get the situation in the Sahel region, which extends all the way from Mali all the way to the southern part of Egypt and Sudan and so forth. Why is this important? Because Russia had its forces present in Mali, which were, by the way, Mali kicked out France. Then, in addition to that, in the Palestinian issue and the Libyan file. All those are key topics that Russia has a say into what's going on there. But there are two main issues there that you need to keep in mind or keep an eye on. One of them has to do with the Sahara issue, as I said, between Morocco and Algeria, which is very, very, very crucial. Then the second one has to do with BRICS, believe it or not. And I will tell you why, So the Algerian president, Abdelmajid Tebboune, of course, thanking the Russian president for supporting Algeria's request to join BRICS. Remember, Russia is a founding member of BRICS, and now Algeria is seeing the opportunity. Mind you, that Algeria plays a role when it comes down to OPEC, because Algeria is an oil-producing country. They have a lot of oil. So, and of course, by having the Algerian president asking the support of Russia to join BRICS, BRICS groups, that is, which include, as you know, China, Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa. So Tebboune said, and let me get the quote here for you, because the wording is very crucial, guys, to understand really why head of states or prime ministers or whomever in charge of governments say what they said. He said, and I quote, "We agree the very volatile international situation, so we want to accelerate our joining the BRICS because it is of great benefit to our economy," end of quote. But there is a geopolitical message there as well. BRICS, it's not about just economics, it's also about geopolitics. Because what BRICS is doing right now, it's working on creating its own currency. Can you imagine Algeria benefiting from that? Let alone Algeria's location, even though it's not closer to the Atlantic as, for example, the Atlantic, but the Mediterranean, there's an access over there. But can you imagine just with China's deals that has on the Mediterranean area? And remember, Italy is about to withdraw from the BRI. So you can just see the dynamics. So Algeria is paving the way for what lies ahead economically. And Algeria, and Putin, for his part, President Putin, for his part, stated, and I quote, "Algeria is one of the most strategically friendly countries, and our relationship is constantly developing. We have been cooperating with Algeria in the military field for decades and supporting it in the fight against terrorism," end of quote. Of course, the Russian president is not going to say we are providing Algeria with weapons in support against Morocco because Morocco gets weapons from the United States, but that is what's at the heart of it. In geopolitics, even presidents will have to be very diplomatic how they word certain things. So, and by the way, guys, if you like the content of this video so far, please hit that like button and subscribe if you have not done so, and I truly appreciate your support. So, but here is one key thing that I want you to keep in mind, is that the Russian president also said that, and I quote here, "Algeria is developing the atomic energy sector, and we have strong experience in this field and are ready to cooperate with it," end of quote. Once again, that's what I've learned over the years when I used to read statements issued by governments or head of states or foreign ministers or vice president or what have you. There's nothing that is said in a vacuum. There is always a reason. President Putin also added, and I quote, "It's very important partner for Russia," Algeria that is. "It's very important partner for Russia at the economic level," end of quote. Once again, ensuring that, why will President Putin say something like this? To, of course, let Algeria know that Russia stands by their side, but also to expect that when Russia want to make decisions regarding OPEC Plus, that it counts on Algeria's support, because Algeria is an OPEC member and it's a major oil producer. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's what's in that statement. And also, the Russian president wants to emphasize, now here is where he moves into from an economic level to the global stage to highlight the importance of this relationship. The Russian president also stressed that his relation, or that Russia's relations with Algeria are, and I put this in quote, carry special importance for Russia and are of a strategic nature, end of quote. Because you all know that Africa plays a major role with both countries, Russia and China, extending or expanding their presence there. Because as you may know, Africa is sort of telling the US, we want you out, telling the French, we want you out, but welcoming the Chinese and the Russians. That is the reason why the Russian president is saying that statement. So the declaration of this, or the adoption of this declaration of the cooperation is only nothing but the beginning of new economic ties between Russia and Algeria. And it will, of course, will be in a more developed phase in their bilateral relationship. That's the way I see it. So, but I found also another very dynamics about when they signed this partnership. What am I referring to here? I am referring to the both countries, Russia and Algeria, signed an agreement, and get this guys, on cooperation in the peaceful use of outer space. Yes, let that sink in. The signature of the agreements between Russia and Algeria on cooperation in the peaceful uses of outer space. So, why is this? Once again, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. Why is this? This is in a reaction to Morocco launching in 2017 a reconnaissance satellite built in secrecy in France for the Moroccan government, which was launched on the top of the Vega rocket from Guyana Space Center in South America. And Guyana, by the way, is a region of France in South America. I was aware of it. I put a tweet on it in 2018. There is a record there. If you follow me on Twitter, you go, but you have to scroll back all the way to 2018, whatever. I put a tweet there about, that's interesting, Morocco is launching a satellite. Well, it's the French that worked that satellite in secrecy for. So you can just see now why Algeria is signing a cooperation with Russia. And the company, by the way, that launched this satellite for Morocco is called Thales Alenia Space. It is a joint venture between the French technology corporations, it's called Thales Group, which owns about 67% of stakes of the company, and an Italian defense conglomerate called Leonardo, which owned 33% of stakes at the company. So back in 2014, the agreement signed, by the way, this is back to Algeria. In 2014, Algeria signed an agreement with Russia through the Rosatom company, which is the director of the General Surgery. The agreement signed by Algeria with Rosatom, which is an Algerian company regarding energy, by which Russia will provide and design and construct and operate and service a nuclear power plant in Algeria. That is a big, this is why Morocco gets very, very concerned. And by the way, this is more than just what meets the eyes. I'll be happy to do a live stream on this topic. I am very familiar with the issue of the desert, the Sahara that is, and the tensions that creates and so forth, and why Algeria is signing this cooperation agreement with Russia, and why Russia is willing to help Algeria in the nuclear sector. So, and once again, the key to all this is that the Algerian president proposed during the talks that his country join the BRICS group and work to reduce dependency on the dollar and the euro. And of course, Putin will invite the Algerian president to participate on the Russian-African summit in St. Petersburg at the end of July. That is what I found very, very interesting. Once again, you don't hear much about Algeria and so forth, but when something like this happens, it should sort of catch your attention, because the geopolitical and economic dimensions that this cooperation will have. And it comes in a very, very crucial time in the history of the world, as the world is shifting from a unipolar to a multipolar, and we can only imagine what lies ahead moving forward. So if you guys like, again, the content of this video, please hit that like button and subscribe, and I will truly appreciate it. So as always, I hope you find it very informative. And as I always say, remember, geopolitics impact your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.